We're coming down US 2, going west out of Manistee. We passed the town of Garden, and we are coming down the highway further, and you will come to Highway 13, which runs right through the National Forest here. It runs from US 2 all the way up to 28, and you're almost to Munising at that point. Along the way, there's just a lot of different things to see. If you like being out in the woods, you're going to see lakes, and just at this time of the year, you're probably going to see some beautiful color. Behind me, you'll see a sign too. Now, this sign lists some of the campgrounds that are in the National Forest here. 5 of them are actual campgrounds on lakes. 2 of them, the Flowing Well, which is the first one that comes along as we go up the road, is on the Sturgeon River, and Whitewaters is on the Indian River. So you've got a lot of choices if you like to do a little bit of camping, or just stop off at the campgrounds and take a look around at the beautiful areas that there, maybe fish the lake too. We're going to see a lot going up Highway 13. This is a road that's a great trip at any time of the year to really enjoy the Upper Peninsula. So if you want, follow along. We're on our way up the road. Federal Forest Highway 13 runs north-south for approximately 36.2 miles through the Hiawatha National Forest between Nema Junction at US 2 in Delta County and US 28 in Alger County. There are 154 forest highways in the United States, and they are numbered in the order they were built. In this case, Forest Highway 13 was the 13th, and it was built in 1930 and paved around 1935. Even though it's owned by the National Forest, the upkeep is dependent on the county that it's in. Highway 13 runs through 3 counties, Alger, Delta, and Schoolcraft. Our first stop would be at the Flowing Well campground. This area is most popular for canoeing and other non-motorized boating, as the Sturgeon River Canoe Trail runs right through the campground. The trail weaves with the river through a 41-mile portion of heavily wooded Hiawatha National Forest. There are various access points along the river. Fishing is also popular, with brook trout, steelhead, and salmon found in the river. We're here at the Flowing Well campground. We pulled in here just to take a look around. This is what it's named after right here. There's a flowing well that's here, and it goes right down into the Sturgeon River. This is a wild and scenic river that flows through the Hiawatha National Forest. So it's a great area. There's a little picnic area here. There's grills, fire pits, and there's a campground down that way if you choose to camp out. Great little area to come into, one of the beautiful spots. As we were leaving the Flowing Well campground, we met a couple of fellows that were here from another country and another state, enjoying our great outdoors. They had decided to camp at Fayette, but the park was full, and they decided to go up to the pictured rocks to hike. As they were headed up north on Highway 13, they came across the Flowing Well campground. I sat down with Rob Cunningham from Nova Scotia and Rob Hinokinen from Bellingham, Washington. We came down Highway 13. We stopped in at the Flowing Well campground just to take a look around, see if we can see some color and see what was going on. We ran into these 2 guys. I've got Paul on my right, I got Rob on my left, and we start asking them what they were doing. We seen they got their cars back here, they got kayaks on top, they got bikes with them. Guys, where are you coming from? I mean, you got Nova Scotia, we got Washington, how in the heck did you end up here?
Well, we wanted to meet in the middle of the continent, and we wanted to paddle Lake Superior.
Ah!
So we were on Lake Superior for a month. We checked out Isle Royale for 2 weeks.
Ah, yes.
And we were on the Apostle Islands for 9 days.
That's nice. That's a nice area. Now, you were originally from Michigan?
Well, that's right. I grew up in the Lansing area, and my last name is Heikkinen, and that's a Finnish name, and my old man was born in Ironwood. So for me, it's a little bit like coming home, being up here in the UP. And we spent about a week on Lake Superior, and during that time we sort of decided that, hey, this is a place, this is an inland sea, this isn't just a lake, this is oceanic in scale. So we decided that we hatched a plan that we were going to come back within a year or 2 and paddle. So, and I'd never been to Isle Royale. Ironically enough, I'd never been to Isle Royale. So we decided to start there.
I tell you what, you guys are a lot braver than I am, but I would love to be going out for maybe a few weeks or a couple of months at a time, kayaking, riding bikes, being out in the woods. That's my kind of living right there. And it's the kind of stuff that you can find up here in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. It was time for us to continue north and on to the delight of the fall colors that encompass the highway. Forest Highway 13 has been called one of autumn's most scenic highways in the state, and you can see why. It is not heavily traveled, so I'm guessing it's not that well known. We've been traveling it for years, and it is one of our favorite places in the UP as it sits right in the heart of the Hiawatha National Forest. As we continued to drive down Highway 13, it started to sprinkle, but it only added to the brilliant autumn colors with its cobalt blue skies as a backdrop. Our next stop would be the chain of lakes. Found off of Highway 13 on Forest Road 440, it goes directly through the Hiawatha National Forest. We would take it east to the chain of lakes where we would do some canoeing and stop for dinner at Camel Riders Resort located right on Deep Lake. It is only 3 miles off of Highway 13 along a dusty gravel road, but well worth the drive. What I do when I'm out here in the Hiawatha National Forest like this is, as you drive along, you're going to see a lot of these small forest roads that run back into the woods. And a lot of times I just like to pull off and go back and hike these woods a little bit. Beautiful areas to go into. Never know what you might see. Great fun. We launched our canoe on Skeels Lake, the closest lake to Highway 13. The great thing about these lakes, they are all connected so you can spend the whole day traveling from one lake to another. We would paddle to Straits Lake to start. This chain of lakes consists of Skeels Lake, Corner Lake, Deep Lake, and Straits Lake, and covers 477 acres in the lovely lake country of the Hiawatha National Forest. These are good bass lakes for both large and smallmouth bass, and occasionally large northern pike are taken, as well as bluegill and sunfish. The sun-dappled forest of hemlock, red and white pine, maple, birch, and aspen surround the lake. The lakes are clear with a hard sand bottom. Rainfall and snowmelt are filtered through the sand and feed the clear spring waters of the lakes. This chain of lakes, which one of the things nice about that, people want to come out here, they can come out without having to worry about being spotted like you have to on a river. Up here you can go into the lakes, you hit a little river, you go into another lake, and you just kind of work yourself along, and then you can come right back to the same spot again. There's no better way to enjoy the clearness of the air, the clarity of the skies, and the boldness of the forest than to be canoeing, kayaking, or fishing on the larger straits or corner lakes, or the number of smaller lakes they connect to. This has turned into an incredible fall day. The colors just jump out at you as if to say, have you ever seen anything as beautiful as my autumn extravaganza? It can only happen in the Hiawatha National Forest. I slowly paddled through the calm waters that caused the canoe to ever so slightly rock back and forth as if to rock you to sleep in this wilderness of never-ending beauty and solitude. I know another nice thing about it is we're never far from town. You get out here, you do a little camping, you're doing a little canoeing like this, weather gets bad on you or you just get tired, you want to go back and have a nice meal, you can always go into town. Beauty and tranquility await the paddler who ventures into the chain of lakes. Time for lunch, and we would head to maybe the only restaurant this deep in the Hiawatha, Camel Riders. We would stop at the Camel Riders restaurant located right on Deep Lake. The original owner was of Mideastern descent and thought it would be nice to give it a name from his heritage. You can arrive by boat or car. We came in by canoe, of course. I had fish, even though I've been told that their steaks are to die for. Seeing as how I would not be eating my catch, I still wanted some fish. You can also stay for a while and relax far away from the hustle and bustle of the city at their resort. It is a great getaway. Camel Riders has been called a 5-star restaurant located in the middle of nowhere with meals and views that are amazing. Before we got back onto Highway 13, we would go east for a couple of miles to Tom's Lake. How fitting, huh? It has a cabin called, what else? Tom's Cabin. we met with Dick Anderson, retired program director for the Western District of the Hiawatha National Forest, who sat down with us to give us more information. I remember the first time we met Dick about 20 years ago. He was a lot younger. Oh, I guess we were too. Now, we talk about the eastern part and the western part of the Hiawatha National Forest. This whole section that we're in is considered the western part. Maybe you could explain that a little bit better for people.
Right. The forest is divided up into two sections, as you mentioned, east and west. On the east side of the forest, we have the Sault Ste. Marie and St. Ignace Ranger districts of the National Forest, basically administrative units. On the west side, where we are here, we have the Munising and Rapid River and Manistee Ranger districts. The National Forest, well, we actually refer to ourselves as the Great Lakes National Forest because we have the good fortune to manage public land on three Great Lakes.
Wow.
And we call ourselves the Great Lakes National Forest because we feel we have the good fortune to manage great lighthouses, great islands, great lake shores, and great snow, which we're not too very far from experiencing.
Yeah. Well, now we're out here today and we're going to get a little bit of a tour of what this is like, but we wanted to start it right here. We're actually at one of the cabins that is a rentable cabin here in the forest.
It is, and the cabin program, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but it's really part of the overall, what we feel is a great variety of recreation opportunities on the forest, both east and west. We have a great developed campground program. I think it was 14 or 15 developed campgrounds across the forest that include some rustic types and also some more developed types. We have this cabin program, actually two rental cabins on the National Forest. Tom's Lake here is very, very popular. It sleeps 8 people. It's a drive-to cabin. Wonderful little spot here on Tom's Lake. Fishing is good. The exploring around here is good. We have a companion cabin called the McKeever cabin, which is a little different in that it's smaller. Sleeps 4 to 6. Tom's here sleeps 8. McKeever cabin is a walk-in cabin on the shores of McKeever Lake. So in the summertime, it's about a 1,000-foot walk. In the wintertime, it's about 30-minute snowshoe or skiing. So the cabin program is really something that makes us kind of distinctive amongst National Forest here in the east.
Okay, well, tell us about some of the different recreational opportunities that we have here in the forest then.
We mentioned the developed campground program, the cabin program. One of the things that's quite unique on the west side of the forest here, based out of Manistee and Rapid River here in Schoolcraft and Delta County, is this dispersed reserve campsite program. Again, not talking campgrounds here, but individual campsites. There are 56 individual campsites that you can rent per night through a reservation system. It's a very popular program here. It's so popular, in fact, that there's actually a lottery system held in February because some of these spots, and there are lakes very close to us here, Swan Lake, Triangle Lake, Lake 19, among many others, that are so popular. Again, there's a lottery system needed, and folks then get their particular day or week and then have that site waiting for them come the summer or fall season.
Now, you said dispersed. How does that differ from other campgrounds?
It's a good question. Our developed program, again, it's internal jargon really, but developed campground would be the traditional drive-in campground that has maybe a beach and a boat access and 40 or 50 sites, toilets, water systems, garbage collection, law enforcement, staff on hand at all times. The dispersed program is a little different. It's for folks who maybe don't want to be around quite as many people, want a little more elbow room, a little more privacy perhaps. Fewer amenities, no garbage service, maybe a hand pump at one of the places. So it's for a different kind of experience, but these dispersed sites are located through the west side of the forest here, again on some very neat lakes that you kind of have to explore and find, and people are just thrilled to have the program, and my counterparts down here in Manistee and Rapid River do a tremendous job with the program.
Now I imagine fishing in these areas have got to be good too.
Well, absolutely. The fishing, I believe on the west side of the forest we have somewhere around 250 lakes, some of which have back-end boat launches to put your little larger craft for boating or fishing purposes. And then we have some lakes that are carry-in only, and some lakes that have no access at all, no managed access. If you pick up a map from the local ranger district and take a look and see where the lakes are and the accesses, there's a kind of lake for anybody. Fishing is quite excellent, all the way from cold water fisheries to warm water fisheries. We have an excellent cooperative program with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, the Fisheries Division. Fishing is excellent.
As we were leaving, it started to rain again, but that was okay. We were prepared for it. Well, Dick, you brought us over. We're at the Camp 7 now. Now, you mentioned this was a little more developed type campground. Now, what does that mean?
Right, again, we keep on talking about the variety of camping opportunities we have on the forest, all the way from the very rustic to on the more developed side. This is an example of one of those sites that's on the more developed side. About 40 some odd sites here, brand new accessible toilets, a pressurized water system, so you get water right out of the tap.
Okay.
There's a very nice day use area and beach here. In fact, there's a fishing pier as well where kids and of all ages can fish off of. But again, the campground's been renovated to accommodate also some drive-through camping. So some folks in bigger units in the last 4 or 5 years has been renovated to allow the drive-through. So a little more developed than the rustic sites we showed earlier.
Now, even though we're in a more developed campground, one of the nice things I like about this type of campground, we still have a big buffer zone in between the different campsites. So even though you're not a long way off, you're kind of blocked off from everybody else.
It's really absorbent, really. It's one of the things that we strive for on National Forest campgrounds, to try to keep that separation or the buffer. You still have the access to the amenities, but you're still screened from your neighbor and have some privacy. We do ask folks to keep a nice quiet hour time between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. so folks can get a nice rest. But it's a great spot here. Day use opportunities. Also, we have a hiking trail connected with the campground here. It's about a 2-mile long interpretive trail.
Well, we jumped back on 13 and continued north. We soon hit the halfway point. How did we know it was the halfway point? Because we came to the Midway store. So we thought we'd run in, grab a snack and a drink, and be on our way. Well, that's not the way they do things in the backwoods of the UP. Well, as we're driving down Highway 13 today, we've been stopping a lot and we've been out a lot of hours. Now we're getting kind of hungry and we're thinking, oh man, what are we going to do? We got to go all the way back to one of the cities to find something. And then we seen this sign that said Midway store. Taking a chance, let's go ahead, we'll head up there. And we came in and we found you and we found food and a whole lot of other things. Tell us a little bit about your store.
Oh, well, like you said, hopefully we have everything that you need. We stock the store by putting a paper on the counter and having our customers write on there what they would like to see.
A very good way to do it.
Because when we bought it almost 18 years ago, I supervised the adult care facility and Pat worked in a summer. So we were very lucky that we didn't know what we were doing. Does that make any sense? So we asked our customers to help us. This is what you see.
We're approximately halfway from US 2 to 28.
Halfway to Munising, yeah.
Called the Midway, is that how it got its name?
Nope, got its name from the CCC camps. This is when they were putting the roads in, this is where they met. They called it the Midway Point.
Okay. And
many years ago.
And if you're ever up this way, like we are on a color tour today, you forget something, you want something to eat, you want something to drink, come up here to the Midway store. They're bound to have it. Thank you for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I asked Dick about canoeing on Indian River I had heard so much about, and was there an access point close to Highway 13? He said there were quite a few, and to follow him to one coming up right off of 13. So we jumped in our trucks and off we went. Now you may notice that it's raining on us here a little bit, but I'll tell you what, if you're going to go out and you're going to enjoy yourself in the woods, you got to expect to be out on days just like this too. And it's not real cold out here today, but the rain's coming down a little bit, but if you dress for it, you're in good shape, I think, out here, Dick, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, now you brought us over. We're actually on the shores of the Indian River.
We're on the banks of the Indian River, which is part of the wild and scenic river system in America. It's one of our great rivers here on the National Forest here in Schoolcraft County. It's about 40 miles of canoe trail that appeals to intermediate and novice canoeists. There's a series of campsites along the river that people can stay overnight in. But we get a lot of day use here. 7 easy access sites allowing for almost any kind of a length program or any kind of a length trip that you like to partake in.
Okay, now this actually starts north of here, just south of Munising, I suppose, and then winds its way then through the forest?
It does. It starts actually in Alger County on the Munising Ranger District of the Hiawatha National Forest, and comes through a pretty tough piece of ground that actually is not maintained as a canoe route. That's the scenic portion of the river. But then around the Fish Lake area, the river changed to a recreation status, and it's from that point south that we maintain it as a canoe route. Periodically, we will cut the windfalls out of the way to allow for easy passage by canoeists.
And I see that we've got a little bit of a ramp on this spot. This just helps folks get their canoe down. You can just set it right here with the keel in the middle and then slide it on down or up.
Absolutely.
Which way we're going.
It's to make for easy carry-in access or slide-in access. We had to do some fixing here because there was some erosion being caused by some unauthorized vehicle use. So we did some improvements, but yet to accommodate the appropriate recreation use of a back-end launch here.
Now, is it hard for people to find these particular spots that you can put a canoe in and take it out?
There are 7 access sites and then a number of campsite locations, all assigned pretty properly along the roads, so you can find your way to the access sites and the campsites.
As you course down the river, you will find it to be 30 to 50 feet wide and 1 to 3 feet deep, although it takes some skill to maneuver around whatever nature has left in the way. The Indian River has little or no rapids, and due to the numerous springs feeding it, late in the season this river is known for some of the best water flowage of any river in the Upper Peninsula. Widewaters Campground is remotely located in the Hiawatha National Forest. It sits on a stretch of heavily forested land between Lake Superior and Lake Michigan near a series of smaller lakes and the Indian River, making it an ideal getaway for anglers and explorers alike. Well, I think we've had one of our more exciting days on this trip so far. We left the campsite a few hours ago and we've been paddling upriver. Now, it hasn't been too bad. Paddling upriver can be rough to do, but we've done pretty well with it. We've hit some open water where we've been able to get through. The current hasn't been as strong, but at the same time we're getting a headwind and the current blowing at us at the same time, and that made it a little bit rough. But we have come up now several miles, and we've got a big lake out behind us, and the river now is flowing up this way. We have been told by a couple of kayakers that we can only go a short distance up the river before it starts choking off and we wouldn't be able to get through. So we're going to just spend a little bit of time here, have ourselves a little lunch, and then we'll be just coasting back downstream. We hope. We'll hope the current and the wind stays going like it is, and we'll have a nice trip back. But great place to come out here if you like to be by yourself. We're at a campsite that we found out here, wilderness campsite. In its wilderness, I mean, you're digging your own latrines when you come out here. You better bring your own water with you and make sure you've got those things, because this is nothing more than a ring. We got a fire ring here, and that's all there is. So, but a good place if you'd like to get out and get away from everything. This is the spot to do it. What a beautiful day we've got too. So we're going to just kick back and enjoy a little bit of it. Widewaters is in a beautiful forest of mature hardwoods, sandwiched between Irwin Lake and the Indian River. This small, quiet campground is perfect for fishing, canoeing, and kayaking. The Indian River was designated as a wild and scenic river in 1992 and is the most used recreational river in the entire Hiawatha National Forest. It's a gentle, free-flowing river, and the 36-mile stretch beginning at Fish Lake to Indian Lake has been marked as a canoe trail where the canoeing and kayaking is excellent and varied scenery is beautiful, from canyon-like banks and sharp curves to broad marshland reaches. Well, if you love the fall colors and you love the wilderness, this is a trip you really need to make. I know it's one of Denny and I's favorite places, and I'll tell you what, whether you're coming in from US 2 or coming down from 28, you can find places to eat, places to stay. It's a great place here in the Hiawatha. Hiawatha, what a great name for a national forest. If you would like to get more information on Federal Forest Highway 13, you can get it by going to our website at greatgetaways.tv or calling the Tourism Council at the number on your screen. We're setting up a travel planner that will have pictures, video, phone numbers, links, and more. Check it out so you can make your trip down Highway 13 a great getaway. If you're in your travels going up and down Highway 13, be sure to stop at the Midway store and go in and tell Myra the Great Getaway said hi. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did producing it, As I've said 100 times before, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on another great getaway.